that have joined us for today. This is a special day. We don't get a chance to do this too often when we allow people to come into camp and see what Emma Kaufmann Camp is all about. Rather than looking at it as there's so many people, we look at it as we want them to see how great of a camp this is. Probably the best camp in the country, right?
That in a way, they're when they touch that Torah, they're feeling the whole legacy of Roberto Clemente, Mr. 3000 himself.
When my mom came and she woke me up and she said, Roberto Clemente passed away. He died in a plane crash on his way to Nicaragua to provide aid for earthquake victims. I just remember at that point understanding that he was doing something for other people. I didn't know Tikkun Olam back then. I didn't know the words community service. I just said, wow, he's doing something more than just for himself. And pretty much at that moment in time, he became my hero.
Whatever you touch in a positive way, because you're leaving your family name on whatever it is that you do. Here at this camp, this men here left their fingerprint at this camp. And forever, that fingerprint will carry their name.
Thank you all very much. I love Emma Kaufmann Camp.
My very first hero that I could ever remember is Roberto Clemente. Roberto Clemente was an amazing baseball player, but he was an amazing humanitarian, and the things that he did changed people's lives for the better, forever. I was 6 years old when Roberto passed away, and he had impacted my life so much that every day in my office, he looks over me. I have a picture of him. I've tried to walk in his way. I was 6 years old, and I knew that we lost a great man when Roberto Clemente passed away because there was more good things to do. And so my message to you, in everything you do, every day, you have a chance to make a positive difference by doing a mitzvah, by doing a good deed. Each of you are heroes in your own right. You can make a difference, just like the people you're gonna hear from today. So with that, I want to turn it over to my friend, my mentor, my contemporary, Lenny Silberman.
I love Emma Kaufmann Camp. I mean, I really love Emma Kaufmann Camp. And being here today, I want to thank everybody. I also have an adopted family. You heard a little bit from Jeff, but in 2003, 13 years ago, we were here when we first dedicated the Torah, and I had my adopted family with me. So Jeff had mentioned Noah. Noah was a year and a half old. Mason was 3.5 years old. Spencer Solomon, I know he's here somewhere. Hey, was 4 years old. Ryan Solomon was 9 years old. Yeah. And Kate Solomon was in her mom's belly. Mel and Marcia, their mom and dad. Okay, thank you for everything. Jeff and Linda. We miss Kyle and Jessica here today, but I know they're here in spirit. We are family. I also have my Atlanta family here. my best friend Ayelet, her son Dolev, and her mom Bracha, all the way from Israel. Just for the camera, hey Seth, Zivan, and Dotan. The rest of my family in Phoenix, Israel, Toronto, Pittsburgh, Shalom, I wish you could be here. But a very special thank you to Sam Bloom. Sam Bloom and I have a lot of history together. I'm very proud of you. A special thanks to Brian Schreiber and Rachel Marcus and all the staff here. Rachel was my first supervisor in 1977. Yes, that means that we're both old. And Roberto Clemente, you honor us with our presence today. And two very important people aren't here today. One of them was my rabbi and mentor and supervisor and friend, Lenny Rubin, who first told me, how can you have a Jewish camp without a Jewish Torah? Without a Torah, okay? And it stuck in my head back in the late 80s. And then once we had the Torah, and this beautiful ark was built by a gentleman by the name of Vern Reingold, both Lenny and Vern aren't with us any longer, and I just think it's important to remember both of them. What can I say about Jeff? He said it all, okay, especially the contemporary. He's my hero and what we've been able to accomplish together in all these years. At the end of the day, guys, I'm just a coach, and I've always had a great team, and I've just mentioned so many of them. Bobino, where's Bobby? So Bobby encouraged me to do this, to tell the story of how we got the Torah. Without Bobby, I won't talk about our tennis game at the family park back in the late 70s, but we've also had tremendous history together, and it's very special. Thank you very much for all you do. I want to tell you a little bit about my dad for a minute. My dad was a wonderful man. He was a great dad. He was a great husband to my mom. Hey, Mom. He was a great businessman. For some of you might remember the business of Silverberg's Bakery. I know that my dad might have made a couple wedding cakes and bar mitzvah cakes for some of you here. But my dad was also a Holocaust survivor. When he was your age, he was in a concentration camp. He didn't get to play baseball. He didn't get to go to camp. He was in a concentration camp. And I remember, okay, as a little boy growing up, my dad couldn't really play catch with me because he didn't understand about baseball. But when we went to our first game, he did remind me to bring a mitt. How did he know that? I'm sure somebody told him, but it was very special. The next thing was that he said, I think I must have been about 7 or 8 years old, and he said, I have a favorite player. I said, who's your favorite player? My favorite player is Roberto Clemente. I said, why is your favorite player Roberto Clemente? So you need to know my dad had a very thick German accent, very thick. And he said, Roberto Clemente also has an accent. So it was a connection. Okay, his accent was from Puerto Rico. So my dad's favorite player, so it became my favorite player. And then as I started to get a little bit older and play sports myself, I understood what Roberto, who he was and how hard he played on the field and all his accomplishments, and then he became a sports role model. And then the tragedy of December 31st, 1972, when my mom came and she woke me up and she said, Roberto Clemente passed away. He died in a plane crash on his way to Nicaragua to provide aid for earthquake victims. I was in 11th grade. I really didn't understand. I didn't know where Nicaragua was, okay? I just had no clue. I couldn't understand it all. And I just remember at that point understanding that he was doing something for other people. I didn't know Tikkun Olam back then. I didn't know the words community service. I just said, wow, he's doing something more than just for himself. And pretty much at that moment in time, he became my hero. My dad was also my hero. He was a man of a few words. Obviously, for those that know me, you know don't take exactly what he did. I'm a man of a few more words, but he always taught me about doing the right thing, and he always taught me about your name is your reputation. And through his actions of Tikkun Olam every day in the business, however it was, I started to follow in his footsteps, and that was important. In the dining hall, and I actually forgot to look, so I hope it's still there. There's very wise words that are written. When the great recorder comes to record against your name, it's not... Wow, I guess it's still there. I have to tell you, use that almost every day in the world that I deal with, and truer words have never been spoken. So on behalf of my family, my mom, okay, you're going to hear about the Torah in a minute. Again, a special thanks to all of you, especially to Jeff and Bobby for making this happen, and Sam and your team for letting it happen. Thank you all very much. I love Emma Kaufmann Camp.
I knew that Lenny gave this Torah a long time ago, and only a couple years ago he said to me the story that you all know about how he sold a bat used by Roberto Clemente to get a Torah, which is a lot of money. I didn't know Torahs were that much money, but they're like $15,000 or $20,000 to buy. And so, you know, it's interesting. I just told a story about Lenny to my camp Friday night. I tell a story every Friday night. And the idea that he gave something so special to him, to a community of Emma Kaufmann Camp, that he was never going to be at again as a participant. As he said, he loved Emma Kaufmann Camp. He wanted to do something for people. It was a selfless act. It was something he gave. In fact, one of the rabbis said to me after I gave the story on Friday night, he said, most of the people I know would have sold a Torah for a bat, not the other way around. You know, to get a Roberto Clemente bat, that would have been more valuable. But Lenny's not that kind of guy. And he asked me, when he told me that story, and I'm a storyteller, he said, Bobby, can you tell that story, like maybe write it up so we can distribute it? Because it's like something important, and maybe some people will take something from it. And I started writing the story. But I called Lenny back up, I said, and I talked with a couple of my cousins, because I'm cousins with the Solomons, and they come to this camp. And I asked them, do you know the story of your Torah? And none of them knew it. And I was like, do you recognize, Lenny, what is so incredible here? You have this sports hero that because of the popularity of sports and the value that sports plays in our society, that it will influence a lot of kids if they understand that Roberto Clemente and who he was is behind the Torah of Emma Kaufmann. That in a way, when they touch that Torah, they're feeling the whole legacy of Roberto Clemente, Mr. 3000 himself. But I want to invite up just for one moment, together, right before Roberto Clemente Jr. talks, both Lenny Silberman and Roberto Clemente Jr. to come stand up here together. Two men who honor those who came before them and do things for others. Roberto Jr. and Lenny Silberman. How about a standing O? And now, ladies and gentlemen, the guest that we've all been waiting to hear from, Roberto Clemente Jr.
Hola, EKC. Very good. Very proud to be here. Lenny, I mean, imagine what this guy has done for this camp. Very proud to be here, be in your presence, to know that this man from Carolina, Puerto Rico, has been impacting all these people from all over the world. It's amazing to me, because he was a kid that grew up with nothing. Loved the game of baseball, but used the game of baseball as a platform to help other people, doing the right thing. And that, for me, makes me more prouder than him playing the game of baseball the way he did, is to have that legacy of doing the right thing. Guys, thank you so much. God bless.